absolutely dogged lately by, I think, interference. For the first time, I've had it at this kind of level. Uh, just amazing stuff going on, important and thrilling topics. And today, I'd love to dive into this Nazca non-human mummies thing, this Mexican news conference with the mummies. And I have to admit, guys, the first time I saw the mummies, like a few years ago, when the first one came out, I was like, oh my God, these are so obviously ridiculously fake looking and fake. And I even think at the time I saw the x-rays and I was like, oh, that just looks fake. And so after this new, I guess, push for disclosing more information about these mummies from Nazca, I've done some research. I've really examined the medical evidence so far accumulated on these mummies from the Nazca area, and the evidence stands on its own. This is really stunning information, gang. And I just suggest you do the research for yourself on these Nazca mummies. And you look at them yourself. You look at the evidence from the scientists. You look at the x-rays yourself. And you're going to come to some startling conclusions. That these beings were real and alive and constructed over 1,000 years ago. And the implications of that are so startling. The implications of non-human intelligences operating on our planet for over 1,000 years, the implications of that are hard to wrap your brain around. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when you consider that these mummies, according to the scientists and the latest data, shows that these beings were a real living separate being, totally different than anything on this planet in terms of natural formation. They seem to have been created. And they have a very strong reptilian aspect. All of the mummies. There's a variety of different types of mummies from that area. And it indicates a variety of different types of genetic alterations. Maria, which is one of the first mummies found, is a very tall mummy. And I think it's the tallest mummy found. I think it's close to like 5 foot, 5 inches tall. And Maria is one of the most human looking of those mummies. But when you really look at the medical data and the information based on the x-rays and studies by specialists, they found just a tremendous amount of massive anomalies in her alone, and she seems to be the most human-like. So the implications are this. If you believe the medical information released in the press conference just a couple days ago, that there are aspects of the genetics that appear to be reptilian and aspects that seem to be simian. That there is some ape-like genetics in these beings, but also a very strong reptile aspect. And I gotta say, when I first saw the eggs in the mummy, I was laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, they took the hoax to the next level and did eggs. Like, how wacky is that? I mean, I thought that was the wackiest thing. But when you look at the startling evidence now about these bodies, and even the eggs, and the tiny eggs growing in the tubes of the female, and the fetuses you can see inside of the eggs, the fingerprints, the toe prints, so many aspects are stunning. And one question you have to ask yourself, if all of them have a reptilian kind of core aspect, could these be evolutionary descendants of the dinosaurs. Think about that. They say that birds are dinosaurs. And a lot of paleontologists back that up. What if another branch in the dinosaur eras, one of the two major dinosaur type eras, what if one of those branches separated and stayed as a small, intelligent colony of hyper intelligent reptilians? And because of how humans reacted to them, they stayed separated. Perhaps they've always been more intelligent than mammals, but less numerous and perhaps less powerful. So let's go into some of the implications of this. If an intelligence more advanced than us made these mummies, these beings, that is really stunning. Or maybe they evolved here. But the mummies themselves prove one of those things happened. They were either made or evolved here. Could they have been helpers of another species that came and did something on our planet and left, and then left these beings behind? You know, were they like the zookeepers' helpers, perhaps? But this is the part that really gets me about all UAP, UFO, and especially this case with these beings. The fact that they're not communicating with us transparently is very ominous. You know, when you're doing something good, you're not afraid of sharing the information, even with someone or something less advanced than you know, like a kid or a child. You are transparent when you've got nothing to hide. So do you think the lack of transparency from the visitors, the watchers, the zookeepers, do you think their non-transparency is an ominous sign? Well, I wanted to share those thoughts with you guys and see what you think. Let me see what's going on with chat. Anything going on? I'm so new to this stuff. Well, anyway, I love you guys. I wanted to share a little bit of those thoughts and see what you guys think. Do you believe these mummies are real and have been here for a long time? The implications are stunning, guys. The scientists said several facts that were really fascinating. You know, with the eggs in the belly, it really was incredible that in that area, there are pieces of art that show beings, reptile creatures like this, with 3 fingers. They show the creatures in the different cultural drawings and in the different fabrics that they weave. And the beings are doing this. They've got 3 toes on the hand and feet. Okay. And they're laying eggs, and they show an egg in the stomach in a lot of these cultural drawings from that time period. So it has 3 fingers and the egg and the eggs and this kind of reptilian, kind of a triangle shaped head in a lot of the fabric from that area, the Ica area. Incredibly fascinating. There's also a lot of modern day sculptures and statues in Peru that have giant lizards with 3 toes on their feet and 3 fingers on their hands. There's a long-standing cultural legend about these beings. So what is the implication of engineered beings living hidden around us? To me, the lack of transparency is ominous. You know, a more advanced being oftentimes takes advantage of less advanced beings. And there's a very good chance the beings on Earth could be being taken advantage of by an advanced kind of parasitic being. You know how we treat cows and pigs and chickens? In a similar way without necessarily eating us. They might be our energy or constructions, or maybe just stealing matter, rare materials on our planet. I used to have 100% altruistic motives behind, 95% of all advanced beings, I thought, out there in the universe. But I certainly have changed my perspective recently with new experiences. And I think that there's a very good chance there could be some parasitic beings. There's a great case. It's a very famous case. And the Nuremberg in Basel, Switzerland, 1561 case of bizarre incidents happening in the sky. And here's a drawing I did of it, a recreation of the famous woodcut from 1561. And this incident happened in 2 different locations over a 5-year period. And what happened were different orbs were fighting each other in the sky. And there's descriptions of them crashed and burning on the ground even. And these orbs were coming out of different tubes, kind of like Tic Tacs, of different colors. And so to me, what that says is there's an infight between 2 different aspects of one technological civilization. Why would they be fighting in the sky? Wouldn't you think if it was different aliens, they'd be of different technology levels? Of course. Those 2 cases in 1561, and I think the Basel, Switzerland was 1566, just 5 years apart, are incredible cases that hints to beings with different agendas all around us. Now, I know it sounds completely preposterous. Beings are living amongst us, but I'm certain they are. And just to have a little quick science fun for a moment, we can only see 3 dimensions. We can't see into the 4th dimension. We can't see a higher dimension. And if a being exists there, we would be very much like the people are in Disneyland, and they would be like the people who work at Disneyland who can go behind the scenery. For us at Disneyland, we have to take long walks to get from one end of the park to the other. But the Disney workers can open a tree, walk inside, take a 5-minute tunnel, and be at the other end of the park. And that's what these beings can do, accessing this higher dimension. So, I love you guys. Hey, yeah, there's people here. I can see the texts for the first time. Not my focus is bad. I'm sorry. I'm just getting used to this new phone. But I'm going to shut down the stream here in just a second. But I'm so happy to see you, Julie. And Matthew, the exposure. Very nice, Matthew. Yes, yes. I love you guys. Lately, things have been absolutely extraordinary. I've had some just deeply profound experiences. And I'm going to be sharing some really incredible evidence with you guys. I love you guys. I love you, Julie. Yeah, this new phone is very bizarre. So I've always had a relationship with Oh, just to fill you in on an update. Over a year ago, I was asked by one of the searchers, a local person, to see if I could help find out what happened to Cody Bigsby, a missing young boy. And I did a viewing, and the results were very um, sad and stunning. I did astral on it, and I got a bunch of data, and my notes were so stunningly accurate. The news just came out a couple of days ago about the father being arrested and charged with the murder and how the father committed the crime, and it's exactly what I predicted. I think I even have a video or a post on my YouTube here that you can go back and look at and judge for yourself how accurate it was versus what just happened. I got contacted by several different people who were involved in the case, and it was a very sad case to get that kind of results in. But all this stuff is connected. I believe advanced intelligences, phenomena, consciousness, ESP, the new physics of the future. This is a data physics, and I think those of us in this room right now are a little bit prescient in our understanding of the. Have a great night.